Okay, before I begin this video, I know I haven't been posting too much lately. I know that I've been a little bit slow on uploads this year, a lot more than last year probably, and that's because I was pretty busy with life, and I was pretty busy with some other things outside of YouTube, but I promise that new videos will come out pretty soon, and I hope to deliver more than the past couple of months. I'm still currently working on the Cowboy Bebop fan film that I've been working on, and it's been getting a little longer than I thought, but hopefully I will release it hopefully sometime later this month or sometime later next month or either sometime later this year. So yeah, because some of these movie projects, some of these short films, fan films that I have been working on are either going to be delayed due to scheduling or due to some other reasons. But I promise that new videos will come out pretty soon, and I hope to deliver more than the past couple of months. And yeah, in the meantime, just watch and enjoy this video. Hey guys, Nicholas Buckwell here, back to another video, and welcome back to another installment of Nicholas's Underrated Film Reviews. It's a series where I basically looked at films that have been going under the radar, that hasn't been really talked about too much, and that hasn't really gotten the attention that it deserves. And today, there is a movie that I found so interesting, that is so underrated, and that it is one of the most underrated films I've ever seen that I really want to talk about. Now, as we all know, the 90s and the early 2000s had basically TV shows getting their own movies. Batman the Animated Series has done it with Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Power Rangers has done it with 2 theatrical Power Rangers films at that time. Beavis and Butthead also got their own movie. And South Park has also gotten their own movie as well. Oh yeah, and also SpongeBob has gotten a theatrical film. In fact, SpongeBob has gotten 3 theatrical films, and I heard that there's going to be a 4th one, but off topic anyways. Today there's a film that I really want to talk about that is so underrated, and I feel like that it hasn't gotten the attention as it should have. I feel like that it has been overlooked, and not a lot of people have talked about this movie that I think I really want to talk about, and I think that it's interesting to talk about. And that movie is none other than Cowboy Bebop, the movie, or as it is known in Japan, Knocking on Heaven's Door. For those of you who do not know, I've been a fan of Cowboy Bebop ever since its first airing debut on Adult Swim. I remember seeing it as a kid, and I remember I heavily enjoyed it throughout the series when I was watching late night throughout Toonami, and then later sometimes Adult Swim, and I would often see Cowboy Bebop on Adult Swim, and I would even often have fun with it as a kid. And I remember rewatching the series again when it was airing on Toonami when I was in my teen years. The series would gain a cult following and an awesome fan base to this day, and even would be watched by both anime and non-anime fans. And you can imagine that the kid version of me would actually be pretty excited to see my favorite series getting its own movie. I've also been doing a little bit of research on this movie and the making of its debut. After the success of the series, Shinichiro Watanabe decided to make a movie rather than continuing where the series had ended, where it left off. Instead, it would basically be in the gap of events of episodes where the movie takes place between of episodes 22 and 23. Like director Shinichiro Watanabe said, the film stands alone. And he said this quote, "I wanted to make a film that people who just happened to be in the movie theater would find interesting. It's not that I wanted to do a film that is a continuation of the TV series. I want you to think of the movie version as an independent work." Watanabe would bring his key composers from working from the TV show to work on the movie, including bringing back the writer Kyoko Niboto, I'm sorry if I butcher her name, and bringing back composer from the series Yoko Kanno, and character designer Toshihiro Kawamoto. And from what I heard from reports online, I heard that there was not a lot of time for the series finale of Cowboy Bebop and the movie itself. And the movie came out in 2001, 3 years after the series debut. However, the movie didn't came out to America with the English dub until 2002 or 2003, I believe. And the movie was being distributed by Sony. Yep, Sony. You're probably wondering about what the story is all about. Bioterrorist attack has happened, and it also causes the attention around the public and including bounty hunters, in which that there is a 1 million wulong reward for that. And now it's up to 3 bounty hunters to find this person, this bioterrorist, and basically, yeah. That's all I'm going to say without giving away any spoilers for a movie that has been released since 2001 and didn't came out to America until 2002 or 2003, I believe. But anyways, yeah. What really makes this movie really good is basically the animation. The animation is absolutely outstanding, and the animation is done by Studio Bones. Studio Bones is basically an animation studio that was found by one of the employees behind Sunrise, Toshihiro Kawamoto. The character design for Cowboy Bebop for the series and for the movie. And the first project that they ever made was actually the Cowboy Bebop movie, which was absolutely pretty cool. And later they would go on to work on shows like the first season of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, I believe, and would later go on to work on shows like Space Dandy and Demon Slayer, and would also work on another underrated film, Sword of the Stranger, which I will talk about in another video. The animation does look really nice and is absolutely wonderful, and the characters are well animated. And since that this movie has been given a bigger budget, probably a much more bigger budget than the series, not to say that the series' animation was bad, it was really good. The series' animation was overall pretty good, but they made the animation in the movie better than how it was in the series. And the use of rotoscoping for this movie is just really good. It makes more of the characters a bit real, and it makes the movie look more like an actual movie. I think something that animated films in general has not been doing very so well, especially as of lately, and kind of seems to losing their touch on that. But here, however, it acts more real than an actual animated movie. It acts very, very real than an animated type cartoonish that you would ever see in any other type of animated film in general. It's just absolutely pretty wonderful, and the visuals for the animation are overall pretty good. They are stunning, they are outstanding. I would like to see this movie on 4K Ultra HD for the animation. I would definitely like to see the animation style in 4K Ultra HD. And the story is just overall pretty good. I thought that the story was just absolutely wonderful, and it was amazing, and I really like how it stands alone. Usually when you see some TV series getting their own movies, they sometimes work very well, like with Batman Mask of the Phantasm, and sometimes they don't really work very well, like with the Charlie's Angels movies. Everything about this movie is just overall really great, and I really like about how this movie feels like an actual realistic type movie. It doesn't feel a bit cartoonish or anything like that. It does have a bit of some funny moments here and there, but nevertheless, the movie does act pretty real in its own way, and it overall just acts like a real movie than an actual animated film. But it does a really great job on fitting in with that tone, and it does a really great job with that tone. The action is overall well animated, and it is well shot and well edited. The action is absolutely pretty wonderful, and is the best. I know that the movie is a little talky. I know that there are some flaws with this movie, like maybe I wish that we could have seen more action with this, but other than that, the action is just overall pretty good and is absolutely outstanding. It's pretty good for what it is. I just absolutely love the action, and it's just absolutely pretty wonderful seeing everything from the set locations like the convenience store, the Halloween parade, and everything that we have seen throughout Mars and all that. Everything just absolutely looks pretty wonderful. It looks exactly like the show, albeit in a much more cinematic movie budget. And how can I forget the characters? The characters are really likable. They are likable like they are in the show, and the characters still act the same like they were in the show. They are absolutely pretty great. And especially with the voice acting for the English dub of this film, it's just overall pretty great. The acting in this movie is absolutely wonderful. It is top tier acting. It is just overall really good, especially with the English dub acting. It is absolutely pretty good. Good how it was from the show, and I like how it's really good in this movie as well. Steve Bloom does a really amazing job with the acting in this, just like how he did in the series. Overall, Steve Bloom did a really amazing job with Spike in this movie. Wendy Lee also did a really amazing job with playing Faye in the movie as well, just like how she did in the series. Beau Bingsley does a really good job on playing Jet in here in the movie. And Melissa Fawn also did a really great job as playing Ed in the movie as well. They overall did a really amazing job. I also really like the new characters in this movie that we see, Elektra and Vincent in the movie. Elektra is by far just absolutely a really interesting character. I really liked about how we see her as this person that we don't even know of yet. She's mysterious. That wasn't until when we see her encounter with Vincent. We see about how she really cares for Vincent, and the main villain Vincent doesn't really seem to be aware about how Elektra does really care for him, although it seems to be that Vincent is in his own place, where basically he was just this fucked up guy who got experimented on by the government, and he basically has a lot of traumatic moments that happen in his life and everything like that. Without giving any spoilers, we see about how the experiments that the government has pulled on him really fucked him up, and we see about how he goes on to basically commit these horrible murders, these horrible crimes, and is basically committing these bioterrorist attacks. And we see about how it really messed up his life and everything. I also really like the interaction between Spike and Elektra. We see that Spike and Elektra, basically they start off as enemies. I mean, they basically have fight in the very good, awesome hallway scene. It's absolutely pretty wonderful, and it's just well animated. It is overall just pretty cool. I really like the hallway scene, and the hallway scene is by far the most memorable scene and one of my favorite scenes of all time. And the action in that is well choreographed. I really like the fighting between Spike and Elektra. But anyways, I really liked about how they interacted in this movie, especially about in the present scene. We see Spike talking to Elektra about Spike's past and everything like that, his past in the Syndicate, and also about how he met Julia, and basically, yeah. I'm not going to give away too much about that, but the scene is very impactful about what Elektra was trying to do and everything like that, and also, basically, yeah, and it's just absolutely pretty wonderful. I also really like about how the movie gives a great tribute to American films, just like the show did, about how the show does give a really great tribute to American films, mainly Quentin Tarantino movies and some other films. But here, however, it does a really great job on feeling a bit more like Quentin Tarantino aesthetic, and I really like about how it still has like that given tribute towards American films. Like, for example, where we see Jet and this police officer guy in the movie theater. They are talking, and they're in a drive-in movie theater, and they are watching a movie that is supposed to be a nod to Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name film. The cinematography for this movie is absolutely wonderful. I really like the cinematography. I really like about how it gives like a bird's eye point of view and everything like that, or how it gives like a POV shot and everything. And I also really like about how the characters move in this, and I really like about how Spike is basically showing more about his skills and how smooth it really is. The skills that he uses in the movie is very smooth. It's absolutely wonderful. They animated well done with his skills. They did a really great job with animating his skills, probably a lot more better than the show. I mean, not to say that those skills in the show are bad, but just that sometimes there are a bit of the limitations of what they could do with a TV show and all that. Basically, yeah. And here, they do a really amazing job, and it works. The soundtrack in the movie is pretty good, and I really like about how Yoko Kanno does a really amazing job with the soundtrack, like how she did in the show. And I also really like the music performance I also really like the music that is performed by Seatbelts. The music performed by Seatbelts is absolutely pretty cool, and it's the most memorable thing that happens in the soundtrack of the movie in the original songs of the film. They did a really amazing job with the music for that, and this is absolutely wonderful. Ask DNA, by far one of the most memorable songs I've ever listened to, and is absolutely pretty wonderful, and is one of my favorite songs I listened to as a kid. The ending for this movie, which I'm not going to spoil, is just absolutely pretty satisfying. It gives us a message about, are we dreaming or are we living in the real world? And basically, yeah, as we see that Vincent sees these butterflies, and it's up for the viewer to decide whether or not that if these butterflies are real or not. But basically, yeah, they do a really amazing job on using the butterflies as a metaphor for this movie. And the movie is just absolutely pretty good. I really like about how it tells its own story, and I really like about how it stands alone from the TV series, but it's still connected to the series nonetheless, despite being standalone. And you really gotta thank the director Shinichiro Watanabe, the man who created the series and the man who directed this film after creating the series. He did a really amazing job with what he has given for this movie, and it's absolutely pretty wonderful, and I just absolutely really liked it. I just overall just really liked how he did an amazing job with telling the series its own stories in a very clever way. Absolutely wonderful from what I've seen. And basically, yeah, you can tell Shinichiro Watanabe does still care for these characters and does still care for this universe, and just has a really great idea. He's like the Quentin Tarantino of anime, and this movie has been giving Quentin Tarantino vibes since Cowboy Bebop has taken a lot of inspirations from Quentin Tarantino's films. It's such a shame that this movie didn't do really so well at the box office, and it's also a shame that this movie didn't get the attention as much as it deserves. It should have gotten the attention alongside with the series, and it should have gotten some multiple re-releases, sadly. And sadly, it never really got that, but it did get a cult following years later. And to this day, the movie is a little hard to watch now because the Blu-ray is already out of print. The DVD, from what I heard, is easy to find. I have seen the DVD being on sale like on Amazon and eBay for some good prices, I believe for about $30 or something like that. Sadly, the Blu-ray is out of print, and to this day, I don't think you can find the movie anywhere on streaming. But as the time of this recording, the movie has been officially been released on Tubi for free, but it hasn't been released anywhere else after that. And basically, and it's kind of pretty sad that we don't get a re-release for this movie on physical format, like on Blu-ray or on 4K Blu-ray. And I was wondering, where is the re-release of the movie? Where's the re-release physical format? Like, are they going to release it on Blu-ray again or on 4K Blu-ray? I know there was a Blu-ray Steelbook, but the Blu-ray Steelbook, from what I heard, has been out of print, and from what I heard, it's pretty rare to find. I'm guessing the reason why they haven't re-released the movie in any other physical formats, like re-releasing the movie on Blu-ray or releasing the movie this time on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, is because of some rights issues between Sony and Sunrise Animation and Studio Bones. I'm guessing that's what it is. I'm guessing because of distribution rights issues. Although they've already re-released the movie on Tubi as the time of this recording. And they did re-release the movie for a limited time back in 2018. And now they are re-releasing the movie again sometime later next year on January 2024. But, as we already know, Sony owns Crunchyroll, right? And Sony also owns Funimation. Sony owns both Funimation and Crunchyroll. I guess probably they could try to figure something out with distributing the re-release for Cowboy Bebop the movie, but I don't know if they are ever going to work something out with Bones to re-release the movie on physical format, re-releasing the movie on Blu-ray and later re-releasing the movie on 4K Blu-ray. But hopefully that one day we could get a re-release of the movie on Blu-ray once again, this time with Crunchyroll, and hopefully that we can get the re-release of the movie on 4K Blu-ray. I really hope that we can have Sony Crunchyroll re-release the movie on physical format. I really hope that we could get that someday. But yeah, only time would tell that we could get the re-release of the movie on 4K Ultra HD. We have gotten some classic anime movies that have been re-released on 4K Ultra HD, like Akira and Ghost in the Shell. I really want to see Cowboy Bebop the movie getting a 4K Ultra HD release, and hopefully that we could get the movie on a 4K Ultra HD release. I hope for the best that they could work something out, and hopefully that we could get a re-release of the movie on physical format on Blu-ray, and probably a new Blu-ray steelbook, and hopefully re-releasing the movie on 4K Ultra HD. I highly recommend that you see this movie. Go watch it. It's amazing, especially if you're not a fan of anime or if you're not a fan of the series in general. Watch this movie, as the movie is already available on Tubi, like I said. And yeah, I give the movie 5 stars and a must-watch recommendation. That's it for the video. I hope that you guys enjoy it. If so, leave a like, share, and comment, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.